to Spill the RT. My name is Eamon Shanahan, and I'm here with Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hey folks, how you doing? How's your week been, Eamon?
Oh, sure, look, it's been great. I say that every time. Sure, look, as if I'm in the farm, in Ireland, plowing the fields and milking the cows. I couldn't
Okay,
be doing
whatever's
anything
for
less.
you.
What are we doing today? What are we talking about today, Josh?
So, folks, this week, more on the Wu Tang one off, and you won't believe where this one went. Dali,
Mhm.
Van Gogh, AI, and NFTs. What could possibly go wrong? And an art student sued for being a complete dumbass. That and a new guest are coming up next as we spill the tea once again.
Excellent. Well, let's get this show on the road and bring down our very first guest. Here we go. Welcome to the show, Dominic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How you
You've
doing?
been
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good, good. Dominic, you've been following us on Instagram for the last number of years, and I thought it was only right that I bring you onto the show, that we bring you on and have a little chat with you and
Well,
find out what's going on.
it's actually lovely to see a face behind a page as such.
Exactly, exactly. We are a real thing. We're not a virtual world,
Yes.
like what we're going to see in a couple of more stories.
I'm
But
real. I'm real.
yeah, we can touch. But we'll talk more about you, Dominic, and your work and what's been going around in your art practice later on in the show. But for now, we're going to get swiftly on with the stories of the week. So, Josh, where are we heading to first?
So first we head off. I guess this is probably New York because it keeps coming out of the lower district there. This is Martin Shkreli and follow up once again to the Wu Tang controversy. For those who don't
Here.
remember, Martin had bought this one-off album, and then he got busted, and then somebody else bought it, and now it's out in the world. But apparently, Martin has too big a mouth, let's say, and he went about bragging the fact that he had taken copies of the album off the album because obviously, once something's
Yeah.
digital, one copy or a billion copies are essentially the same thing. Well, the court
Mm-hmm.
got wind of this, and Martin has been ordered by the end of September to turn over all copies because there's now a company that is actually interested in NFTs. How this connects, I don't know, but they apparently have $4.6 million into this thing at this point, and they're rather pissed that Martin has copies.
Hmm. Yes, lots of money going on here, and it's just really interesting because we'll talk about this more in the show about NFTs and about their value now. But to say that it's worth that much money, it's probably a little outdated now, I'd say. But at the same time, it's we're talking big bucks here.
It's insane what people will pay for, I guess.
Dominic, have you heard about this story before?
I have I'm not a follower of Wu-Tang. But when you look into the way things have gone, he was a character, we'll say, before he went into this. So
Yes.
um like you get what you put into it, and if they want to sell it to somebody like that, well, you have to accept the consequences.
You do. You
Um,
do.
Well, in this case, it's all
But
involuntary. It's more like he just
yes.
can't keep his mouth shut, right?
well,
Because he
yeah,
could have had all the copies he wanted, but apparently he was using it to impress women. He was trying to charge people. He's just, like I said, just couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Mm.
yeah. He technically, I'd say he is actually a genius, but not streetwise as such.
No,
Uh,
no.
he has a brain.
He does. He does have a brain. We'll see
He
whether he
does.
actually surrender all of those copies and the live streams by the end of the month. I'd say the chances are very minimal, but we'll see. We'll watch this space and see where it
Yeah.
ends up. But it's been great to come back to the Wu Tang Clan again to see what's been going on there. Meanwhile, we do have other issues with NFTs, but also in the kind of in the realm of the AI world that we're dealing with at the moment and the ethics of the AI world. What's happening there, Josh?
So here, I guess we're going to both the Dali Museum and the Musée d'Orsay in Paris because this involves both Dali and Van Gogh being resurrected, I think is probably the best way to put it. and using AI in different ways to essentially, I would say, call it like time travel, if you will, or time and space travel. I don't know. It's something out of like a comic book or something, because it's recreating using AI things, because you can just jam as much data in as you want, right? And then have the AI spit something out. And so you pick up a telephone and you're talking to Dali, or look, here's Van Gogh in front of me, a giant talking head telling me exactly what he thinks. And the whole thing is a little bizarre because it goes back on that idea of like what you see is what you believe. And so I think like part of the spectacle here is this idea that we've recreated this, it's real, and people will actually buy it, no pun intended, as being the real thing.
It's kind of funny though, because these two artists, especially Van Gogh and Dali, they're both surrealists, and it's kind of like how their work was. It was set out so that you take out your own interpretation about what this work is, and you bring it into your own world, into your own life, and your own imagination. And now through these AI generated robots that are like, you can talk to them, you can talk to Dali, and you can talk to Van Gogh and ask them questions. And it's kind of like, it's like, you don't sometimes there is this, well, for me anyway, personally, if you go and you see an art piece, you want to take it for what it is, not what you want to ask the artist about it. It's kind of like it's this is the kind of the magic of the artworks that are in museums and galleries now, that are of artists that have gone for decades, that we have to try and kind of pick up the pieces and bring them together and form our own interpretation of it. And now it's been kind of said otherwise. It's that kind of thing of, okay, it's like, well, why did you paint it like this? Why is there a million clocks in this painting? Why are they all melting? And well, in actual fact, that's for you to answer as a viewer.
What do you think, Dominic?
I'm not a lover of AI, but if I went to a museum, I would see that. In my heart, I don't agree with it, but yet it still draws an attraction.
It does.
I would go to see it if I was there.
But that's about spectacle, right? I mean, to me, it just reminds me of a line from Whit Stillman's Metropolitan. I don't enjoy literature. I enjoy good literary criticism because it does the job for me in a tenth of the time, right? Like, it's this idea of letting the tool somehow take over. And then to me, the idea would be like, this wouldn't be a one-off, right? Like, you'd start to see more and more of these. And at some point, like, the original thing, meaning the artwork, would start to kind of recede into the distance as the cult of personality of the artist gets resurrected in different ways. And I just think it goes back to that idea of like the artist is genius by him or herself, and like all kinds of crazy stuff that just is not the way art actually gets made.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's kind of like, as well, it has the question over a gallery space versus a theme park. And there's a lot of like immersive gallery spaces that are happening now, where you go through these exhibition spaces and they're all projected through, and they bring these paintings to life. And it's kind of like, you get into there's a lot of Van Gogh ones around the world. I've been to a couple of them myself, and they're very cool to get up close and personal with the detail of the work and everything. And there's like, they've generated them so that they move, and it does feel like they've come alive a bit. But then is it taking away from the authenticity of what the original artworks are, the artworks themselves are? I don't know.
Well, I've been to see Van Gogh at the MoMA in New York, and I can tell you that other than me, everybody else was not looking at the picture. They were spun around taking a selfie of themselves, 7 and 8 people deep.
Yes.
Right. To the point where the artwork literally disappeared as if it were not there at all. It was like DeLillo's most photographed barn in America. They just didn't see it. And so to me, the greater issue here is it's exactly about what are we looking at and why, and what again gets replaced in the process.
No, I think that's good. I think that's that tea spilled, I feel. But I say let's not go away from Dali too quickly, because there is a really exciting auction coming up in London soon, because there was a whole load of Dali lithographic prints that were found in someone's garage.
Yep. And it's going to go for millions of pounds altogether, or millions of euros when the auction goes through. What's interesting about this is these are 10 lithos, so they're not originals, but they are signed. And it goes back to this idea about the cult of personality, right? Like the same litho that has Stein on it instead of Dali ain't going to sell for 300,000 to 500,000 on the low side estimate per piece, right? Like it's about the name. And that's why
Yes.
people want to like resurrect this person. But that also then voids out the artwork in different kinds of ways.
Yes, but it's a Dali piece, and it's like it's an excess. His signature is on the piece, and it's kind of like it is somewhat accessible in that they're going like the opening bid is like between £300 and £500, and it's just to have a Dali signature in your house. I don't know. I'm definitely up for that. I mean, we talk about auctions for the last number of episodes, and we say how like people would end up buying the ruby slippers or whatever, but I'm kind of like I want a Dali signature.
What do you think, Dominic? How much would you pay?
Uh, I would love one.
Yeah.
I don't think I could afford to actually have one when that goes to auction, but what a fantastic find.
Yeah.
And the man that owned them had them for 50 years and forgot. Like, it makes no sense to me. Um, I would definitely, oh, I'd be well up in the hundreds, but I'd still lose.
Yeah, yeah. I do reckon that they'll go beyond the asking price.
Yeah,
I'd
oh,
say,
without a doubt.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what that. I think it's again. This is at the end of October of September, so it'll be interesting to see what they actually sell for. We'll report back.
Yeah, I guess it'll depend on the state of the economy at that moment, how people
That is true.
feel, how much they feel with their extra cash, right?
Yeah. Oh, if anybody's feeling generous, I'll take
Feel
one,
free to
please.
buy and donate. That's okay too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Donate it to Nua Collective. Thank you very much. I'll hold it. That's that tea spill. Before we carry on, we're going to just take up what's happening at Nua Collective. Nua Collective, a visual art community, is home to 20 artists and hundreds of their artworks with fresh work added weekly to our online collection at www.nuacollective.com. Here you will also find our Nua Journal featuring articles and podcasts, which are also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Our beautiful print publications highlighting our collaborative collections are available to buy, perfect for your art book collection. We are currently setting up a new exhibition called the Scatter exhibition, and that will be shown live on Friday, this coming Friday, the 20th of September. And if you'd like to be involved in that and to see this private showcase, do send us an email at hello@nuacollective.com, and we will be more than happy to bring you in to see this brand new collection by the Nua Collective artists. All that and more at www.nuacollective.com. So we are back. And where are we heading to next?
So next we head off to University of Nottingham and University of Bradford in the UK. And this is really about the impact of AI on art history, art authentication, use of AI, let's say outside of the maker's side of things and more about the curatorial museum gallerist perspective. And they were able to verify Raphael as being a Raphael because the AI made the connections that humans had not made. And that's kind of what this comes down to. Yes, computational formalism is the technical term for this.
Yes, I mean, again, this is looking at whether we've spoken about NFTs and how it's like its decline is in its wake now. I feel, but we are now definitely looking at how AI is taking over.
But what's funny about this is, so two different groups did this, right? And they ran the same data set through two different AIs, and they got completely opposite answers. One AI,
always check their answers.
The one they went with, it's like, oh yeah, this is for sure. And of course, they went with that one. The other one was like, for 85% probability, this ain't what you think it is. And they're like, nah, we like this other one better. And so to me, it's just about like the human bias is still there, even though the AI is technically making a decision.
It is, and I suppose I'm assuming. I mean, don't call me a tech nerd because I'm certainly not. That in the coming years, as its knowledge grows, it's only going to become stronger, and it's like that superhero thing where the more it learns, the more powerful it's going to be, and this is what's happening with AI. We're all going to be just demolished by it. What do you think, Dominic? You look like you're supposed to say.
I know again, it's just something I can't get my head around. It's I think AI could be fantastic used in the proper context, but
Yes,
it's not going to be. And something like that just shows you that two programs that should be working the same
Mm-hmm.
can come up with different decisions. Um,
Yeah.
so basically, I could have guessed as a third decision if they wanted, because that's what it was down to.
Yeah.
Uh,
But your decision is equally as valuable, I think, is what they're trying to say. But it's
Well,
like,
yeah,
AI is saying that, or what they're saying about the AI element of it is that, look, it can analyze the brushstrokes to attribute like what and how they did it, and they can break it down even more so than what we potentially could as humans. But I don't know if that's the case, and I don't know. I don't know.
well,
I
any kind
fold.
of AI at this moment is only as good as what it's been trained on, right?
that's
And
true.
so there's been lawsuits.
Yes.
Artists are suing because stuff that was in public domain has been used to train. But I think it's more than that. Since we don't know, it's like you trust that what's been programmed in is like somehow objectively neutral. But there's no such thing, right? And so data sets, the whole idea would be to overload with overlapping data sets. And that does not appear to be the case here, because if you're getting that kind of wildly divergent response, that means they're not sharing a common set of equations, a common set of processing of data sets, nor probably the same data sets. And so
Yeah.
it is like humans, we know this, right? You train people. Who is the expert, not just the opinion? Because I can talk all I want, but if I don't know what the hell I'm saying, what's the point of listening to me? But humans respond to technology in a different way, right? Like they
Yeah.
want their car to beep at them so that they don't cross the line. And so they start to trust this stuff as somehow being more human than human or better than human. And it's quite the opposite, right? You're only as good as the people who programmed you, and those people suck.
Oh dear. Okay. I mean that will open up a whole lot of other questions, Josh, but okay. See.
Screw you.
Okay. But like I suppose if we think about it now, what is the long-term impact, of where we're going and what this is doing, what this is achieving?
Well, given the rapid pace, it's very difficult to be able to say. And I hate to sound trite
Yeah.
in saying that, right? But legitimately, 2 years ago, we were talking about NFTs. As we're just
Yes.
about to talk about, NFTs are dead. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
about NFTs anymore. But is
Yeah.
the resurrected Van Gogh, Dali, AI the next NFT? Like, that's the question for me, right? Like,
Mm.
is 2 years from now, all of this going to be something that's in the past regardless anyway, because of
Yeah.
this accelerating pace of change?
Well, hopefully it'll be more refined, and it will bring in. I think people are longing a little bit more for the human injection of things,
Yeah.
because things are becoming so generated. I do feel like there is an element of humanization that's required. Josh, you're shaking your head there as though I'm like talking bullshit, but
You're always more optimistic than I am. I always see humans as
and
being a
that is
race to
why
the
this
bottom.
dynamic works. Because I need to try and bring some
Screw
light
you
into the
anyway!
situation. And if I don't bring the light in, it's just going to be a big dark showcase. Poor Dominic. I'm sorry, Dominic.
No, you're grand. You're grand.
You have to be mediator, Dominic, today, I'm afraid.
So let me ask you this, Dominic. How many times have you been approached by someone as an artist that they want the NFT version of your artwork? I
Oh,
know I
stop.
get these.
I'm sick of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, here's the good news, my friends. NFTs are officially dead.
Good.
Your
Good.
average NFT has lost 90% of value, folks. So anyone
Yeah.
that invested out there, they have a couple that have like a 2.3x return because of the specifics of that particular minor collection for some odd reason. But did you invest in apes? Did you invest in whatever the hell the series was? You lost money big time. Ha ha ha.
Classic. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I mean,
There's no such
NFTs.
thing as a free lunch.
Well,
You
let's
don't get something for nothing.
hope it will stop the Instagram spamming that we have been getting for the last couple of years of, would you like to change your art into an NFT? You can make millions. And I'm like, stop with this. Stop.
Yes.
So
I love
hopefully
your
that,
artwork. It's
yes.
very impressive. Please sell me NFTs. I collect.
Oh God, did you write that? Is that
I
you?
wish an AI wrote that one right there.
Oh
Jeez.
dear. Oh dear. Yeah, it is. It's down 95% and it's considered worthless now. A shocking fall from grace for the speculative
Imagine.
market.
The only
Shocking
person who
call.
really made out on that was Beeple. Because Beeple sold one for $69 million
Yeah.
plus the fees. It was like $82 million all in.
Wow.
Someone put $82 million into nada.
Nada.
Nothing.
Well, let's hope they got out when they could, and that was the end of it, and that they cashed in, and that was that.
Goodbye,
Dominic,
suckers.
Dominic, have you ever created any of your artwork as an NFT?
No, and I have no
No.
intention of it.
No.
Amen.
No.
Don't do it. And everybody else out there, those artists out there who are thinking about it, think again. Think again. That tea is spilt. That tea is spilt. No more talk of
Goodbye,
NFTs,
NFT.
please.
Goodbye,
Goodbye.
NFT.
Goodbye. Okay, right. We are moving on now to an art student who was sued over fish rot scandal, and he has created an apology video. Josh,
He
what
didn't
what
just create an
what's
apology video. This
well
guy,
he
I mean, okay, so this is where the line between art and
there he
getting
is.
sued basically collapses right in front of your face. So
Okay.
this guy is from Iceland. He's an MFA art student. And I don't know if this is actually part of his MFA project or he just decided under the umbrella coverage of, hi, I'm an MFA student. I'm going to screw with a giant series of corporations and created a fake website, put a whole bunch of press releases, did all these things, basically apologizing. So the backstory of this is, right, different countries have fishing rights. And the country of Namibia basically sold its fishing rights to this company. And then all kinds of problems ensued, right? And so this guy then says, well, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to force their hand and put out into the public realm all this fake news, essentially, and hope to generate controversy. Well, let's just say the controversy has been generated, but for him, because he's now going to be tied up in court for a series of time.
Oh dear, oh dear. Free speech though, or what? You
Well, that's what
know,
they're arguing. They're certainly arguing
yeah,
that. And I don't know, right? I mean, in the United States, you might be able to get away with that, but free speech laws function differently in different parts of the
they
world,
do.
right?
Yeah.
And so, depending on where you're being charged and how you're being prosecuted, the rules might be very different.
Mm, I don't
Certainly, if
know.
it was in the UK, it would be a very different story, right? He'd probably be guilty in the UK and have to prove his innocence in a way that would probably not work.
Dominic, what do you think?
I believe in art that takes on argumentative, the likes of political art and things like that. But this lad has put his foot into something that's beyond funny.
Yeah.
It, I read this story, and I cannot believe he went so far. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're taking
Mm,
on multinational companies, and you have nothing. Like, if he loses his case, there's nothing they can do. I'm sure he hasn't got enough to pay the court fees. But
mm,
if he wanted his name out there, he got it out.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know
yeah.
if I don't know if it'll do any good, but
No.
Well, the filing
It's
is
been
for
spoken
both.
about though. Yeah, go
he
on,
has
sorry.
been spoken about.
It's trademark infringement, which would not involve civil, like penalties, maybe, right? But
Yeah,
also malicious falsehood. And that to me starts to go into the realm of beyond penalties into actual like prison time, right? Like you said, he didn't just put his foot into it, he deliberately stepped in that one
he did.
Yeah.
and did so in a way unapologetically, which is, I think, part of the other issue, right? Normally, when an artist gets in trouble like this, they're like, I'm sorry, it's artistic expression. This is like a deliberate, this is like a culture jam, but done in a way that the company certainly perceives it almost as if a terrorist attack has taken place. You haven't set my
Mm,
tanker on fire, but you have absolutely destroyed my reputation. And they're proceeding in that way in court.
yeah.
He had a shovel in his hand and he just kept digging. So
I love your
Dear.
metaphors.
Yep. Dear. Digging his way all the way down to Japan. I don't understand though, how do we assess what is legal and what is not legal? I mean, we've gone through this before, where we've had coins stolen from galleries within the confines of the rules. We've had, then we look at the defamation of artworks using the tomato bandits. So it's like, I mean, from an art point of view, you've seen a whole load of that sort of stuff. happen, and where the artists got away with it, but they were clever about it, and they did it within the framework of what was pushing the boundaries or testing the limits.
Yes.
And this has probably just gone too far the other end of that.
Well, certainly his lawyer believes they have a case, right? The lawyers that are defending him, and they believe that this is going to, because it's so important. It's not about this particular case. It's about this issue of artistic freedom versus property rights versus what the public is entitled to know about, because this actually affects, right? It's not just about the company. It's the public perception of what's going on around them, and playing around with that in a way that is kind of dicey. So I think when it's going to be in court for a while, it doesn't even start for another month. But the results of that, I think, is going to have some wider reaching implication.
Yeah.
Certainly in the UK, because we're talking about UK law here.
Oh, dear. Well, I believe that story has been spilt, because there's a whole lot of can of worms there that we can dig into, and I don't think we should go there right now. But there you go. We're sorry for him. Right, well...
But we're not sorry, AI! Screw you!
We're not sorry, AI. But this brings us nicely into Dominic. Dominic, as we said earlier, we're delighted to have you on and to talk to you about your work. Firstly, I suppose, to tell our viewers and audiences, where do you come from? Tell us about you.
Well, I'm born and bred Limerick City.
Okay.
I got married and moved to County Clare. I trained as a French polisher and antique furniture restorer. We worked for a large number of years for ourselves, and then I went into period house restoration. In 2008 I had an accident, so ever since then I tell people retired. I'm actually on disability, where I can't be insured to work.
Okay.
So about 3 years after the accident, I was having numerous operations, and my wife was up in the attic taking down some stuff, and she found paints and a canvas that we had put away 20 years prior. And because I couldn't get up or walk or anything, I started painting, and it kind of spurred from there, where to this day literally I have not stopped.
Amazing.
I've gone and done that. I always worked in oil paints. Even as a young kid I worked with oil paints, but I've done previous courses since. I went to art college in Limerick. I've done a pastel course. I love the pastel work. There's something so nice about it. The colours are genuine. It's all natural pigment, of course. And I work with Limerick, Art Limerick, and I work with Inish artists in County Clare.
Amazing.
So I have literally thrown myself out there into it.
What a great story, Dominic. And like, it's super hearing that you've really overcome things, but it's like that you've come from a craft as well, and that you're coming into something that's probably more personal for you, which is really important. We have a couple of paintings here that we'd love to share with the viewers. This one here, which, would you like to talk about this piece?
The lobster baskets?
Yes.
Yeah. We were travelling around. We have a camper van, small one, an old one. We were travelling around, and I love taking photographs of things. Basically, if I think it looks nice, I'll photograph it. And these caught my attention in the scanner. That one took an awful long time, because the ropes that are actually on those lobster baskets are all individually put in. I love trying to make something look right. I paint for myself. I don't paint what everybody wants, or what people go out and look for. I read one time that the biggest paintings in the world are I don't paint abstract, so everything I literally paint, I paint for myself. I like to paint what I see, and it's just discussions that mightn't look right, and of course artist license and that.
But different people work with photographs as references different ways. For you, the photograph is kind of inspiration rather than being completely accurate.
Yes, even if you saw the photograph of that now, it's not 100% accurate, but it's why I will take a photograph, strip it apart, and pick out what I think is nice, and I put them back together, and that's what I paint. So it's I don't want to say realism because it's still, I feel it's still arty, but it's you'll get a genuine painting of a genuine product as such. The likes of the baskets, they're, as far as I can figure, they're correct in size towards the wall.
Very good. There is this piece then as well, Dominic, which I immediately think of Degas and his ballet dancers. What brought you to go into this work, into this type of work, this figurative work?
So some of the paintings I do, I deal with specific photographers, and this, when I was looking through one of the photographers' stuff one day, this painting came up, this picture came up, and I just fell in love with it. And it's a pastel painting, and at the time I felt it would have been a challenge. I love a challenge when I'm working, and to get 3 people into one painting, I thought that's worth a go. That took about a month to actually do, because not only do you have the 3 dancers, but you also have the reflections. You have the different light sources. I love the painting. It hangs here, and I hate to see it go, but when somebody says I'd love that, I let it go. I have no choice. I have a ton of work here.
You're right.
You can always paint more.
I can always paint more, which I tend to do.
What I think I really love about this is the light, and it's like not just like Caravaggio's chiaroscuro, and like and in the kind of the motion as well that you've captured in that, I think is really beautiful too. So I think it's
Thank you.
really, really well achieved.
Yeah, I think you can see your fine eye, right, from your training, from your years doing restoration. It comes through in the work, and it's a kind of post-impressionist. Right, we're getting your take on what you're seeing. It's really, really lovely.
Yeah, I just love detail. I spent hours doing just detail alone.
And how large is that piece?
Sorry?
What's the size? What's the size of that piece of the 3 dancers?
The painting itself is 50 by 70 centimeters.
Oh,
but then it's framed, so it's slightly bigger than that again.
Oh, well,
all pastels have to be framed, so I have no choice with that part of it.
And then there's this final piece that we want to share. It's kind of much more open and free, and it has that element of obviously nature and escapism. I just think there's something great about this.
An awful lot of my work is kind of nature built. I love wildlife. I love scenery. This is one of our travels in West Clare. I just loved the way the plants actually cling to the rocks, and when you consider that the amount of breeze and rain and wind that they go through, they're one hardy little plants.
This one was from a photograph as well?
It's from a photograph. When I'm out in the van, oils take so long to dry, so it doesn't pay me to actually bring them along and try to work with them, because you end up minding them. So I do a lot of sketching, and I bring pastels with me. I'd get colour things, but then I take photographs, and I match kind of what I do there to the painting that comes out in the end. But there would be a photograph taken of it, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful work. It's really good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for explaining your process, because that helps us really to see, no pun intended, how that end result comes about.
Thank you.
Definitely, and it's been great. It's great to hear about the time that you put into it, and as well to give the viewers an understanding of how long goes into some of this work, you know. And it's great. It's great to see it, and the detail that's come through it as a result of that is tremendous, you know. And
Thank you very much.
A testament to your craft. Congratulations, and make sure that you do check out Dominic's work on Instagram, and we'll put a link into the bio, and we'll share it on our own social pages as well. So do follow Dominic and keep up with all of his latest and greatest artworks, and we look forward to sharing more and seeing more of your work, Dominic, as well in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for coming on today. We really appreciate it, and we'll hope to have you on again soon at some point.
No problem.
Definitely. But Josh, what have our audience to do now? They've got a job.
Before you stop watching this, subscribe, like, share, send it as an email to 3 friends. Fear of missing out. Episode 17 is coming. Come on, who knows?
Yes, that FOMO is real, people. So do share with everybody. Get the news out there and let them all know about Spilling the Art Tea. And remember, if you want to join us on Spill the Art Tea, you can do so by just sending us a little email to hello@nuacollective.com. We're there, we're here. So that's all for today's show. Do follow us at Nua Collective Art on all our social platforms. You can check this out on our podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you do have access to that, or that's how you listen to our podcast, you can do it there too. And if not, we'll see you next time on YouTube every Monday, 7 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
Thank you very much.